my fellow dragons who are watching this right now. I am doing a different type of stream series this time around. It's merely me talking about projects and such, and this is going to be my first one actually. So yeah, for those who are here and such, hope you guys have your seats. Hope you guys have yourselves some drinks, probably a snack or two. And hopefully you guys are interested in what I'm going to be talking about with this specific project that, well, has been on my mind for a little while, just put to the side, and then some. But for those who are coming onto the stream, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you guys. Anyways, this specific topic here is going to be about this Pokemon crossover I've had the idea of for a few months now, and I briefly mentioned a few times, and oh, we have ourselves a first one. I'm sorry, Cole, but yeah, there will be, but don't worry. Don't worry, it's not going to be that out of control. Yes, and welcome, welcome. Now, this in particular, it's mainly taking place within a different region. A region that I basically came idea with. Now, I didn't really come up with any specific. What? I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean by that, Cole. I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, I can't really come up with any Pokemon species or what they'll be based off of and such. So yeah, these were basically regional Pokemon that were brought over to this region, and it is called the Scala region, which in terms means scale in a way. Oh boy. Like you say scale food chains, scale themes. This is basically you tip the scale. Time to tip the scale. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Well, I guess in particular, the idea pretty much came to me was thinking about, there hasn't really been much of a type of. I like Pokemon and I like crossovers. Why not come up with something that could actually be interesting to people? And well, I've already discussed this with a few people that I know, and they seemed interested enough. And I carefully tried to plan this as best I could, and it's still a work in progress. Trust me, guys. It's definitely taking a bit, but yeah, for this specific type of region, it is a what I like to call a very difficult kind of region. Now, granted, there are themes surrounding this particular region and such, and yes, welcome. And hi, Joshua. No, I am not including Digimon. No, keep those digital creatures out of my region. They're not there. Sorry, guys. Yes, this is a crossover, but it's not that kind of crossover. I am not going to have that go on. But yeah, the region definitely has things going for it. It's definitely got themes in it, and it's definitely it's what I like to call a balanced themed region. Oh, and TJ, this is mainly just me going over some things in this crossover project that I have the idea of. The region is relatively big, and oh, okay, that's an interesting idea you came up with. But yeah, the region definitely will be big. Oh, well, I wouldn't blame you. That guy got in the head with the coconut. Now, firstly starts. Basically start. There really is no Pokemon professor within the town. And the starter actually isn't of the traditional starter. Rather, you basically go to a daycare area where you go and actually get your specific Pokemon. Now, there are different types of themes and such as it's mainly, if you probably don't know, I'm basing this a little bit about like from the Alola trio, where they pick you rather than the other way around. And specifically, if the Pokemon basically has some trust in you or it senses a good vibe of you, it will basically accept and will become your partner. And, well, believe it or not, there's a bit more to it. Where does the crossover come from? Well, that's where I came up with this idea. Okay, people, we don't want any controversies in the chat, please. Let's not pretty much get out of controversies, especially into arguments and such, because yesterday was definitely not a good thing. So, thank you. It's okay, guys. Just don't get too out of control. It's okay to mess around and such, but just try to remain on the focus line. And it is definitely raining outside. DJ, you're fine. You're fine. You don't really need to worry. Anywho's. So yeah, the idea is that certain characters actually got warped in by dimensional portals. And this is basically kind of the carryover of the dimensional portals from, well, Sun and Moon and such. Only it does not do with Pokemon, but rather characters from their different worlds and such. And since they arrived in the Scala region and such, and since it's a massive area, it's the equivalency of a continent, like a really big one, not an island. It's definitely, I'd say, a very vast and wide open region. And specific characters. Don't worry. I am not making it that out of control, I promise. The crossovers I basically settled on will definitely have its reasonable points, but it does also have different themes. Okay. Now here is pretty much the other thing. Some of those residents are basically, well, I mean, I can understand what you mean by that, but still, one of the majorities are in fact, well, some certain Sonic characters that had practically been warped. Now, this is basically a different take. Instead of them actually having the full-on memories and such, it's more of a different take. Think how basically in Archie there's always explanation that there's possibly many different Sonics and such. It's basically equivalency of that. Yeah, I know, and I'm trying to do that. I've been trying to. Trying to be very careful with how I handle these sort of things. Now, the first kind of Sonic character that actually gets to be met is none other than Vanilla Rabbit from the Sonic series, who basically is the daycare caretaker. I mean, when you think about it, Grin's mom barely didn't have a job within the series or ever gets mentioned. So I was thinking, she could basically be a daycare carer and such. Yes, yes, they do. Now she does have some Pokemon. One of them is actually a Meganium, which is practically a caretaker, along with a Kangaskhan with a Mega Ring. Yeah, basically, Mega Stones, they were a thing in X and Y, and they're still a thing. Yeah, I'm basically having different themes of how it'll work. I mean, I can understand what you mean, and I know where you're going with that. I know where you're going with that. As for other Sonic characters, certain ones are gym leaders, and they are a bit aged up. Yeah, I kind of went with the whole idea. That would actually make a bit more sense. Plus, I just wanted to give it a try. And also, there's also the case with some troublemakers that actually are true troublemakers, that being Team Hooligans. They are pretty much bad. They're definitely indeed a bad group. And well, they're kind of like the Team Rocket, except they definitely do mean a lot of trouble. And instead of being super inconfident and such, these guys are the real deal. And also the fact that Knack the Weasel, he does indeed use those guns of his. If not, then he's just gonna sick his dang Pokemon on. Yeah. Each of them has a specific Poke partner, such as Knack basically having pretty, say, a Weavile, because that is also a Weasel Pokemon. Obviously, Bark is going to get a Beartic, and lo and behold, Bean gets, surprisingly enough, a Psyduck. If people probably don't know, or they probably do, but I'm going to bring it up anyways because just in case you guys don't know, Psyduck gets really bad headaches, and with that could cause a major issue. Explosion of psychic energy. Boom. I'm sure anybody who has seen the Detective Pikachu movie knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that was a mentioning of Misty having a Psyduck, but I don't think that was a pet, honestly. But yeah, let's just say that Psyduck was definitely kind of something in his own way. Also, hi Noah. Hi. Hopefully you're hearing what I've basically been trying to explain. Anywho's, how exactly catching Pokemon and such? Don't worry. This gives the explanation that if you basically know what you're doing or you've actually heard, there's the option that you've actually have heard of them pretty much been able to catch and such. So you don't really need the training. You basically know straight ahead. Yeah, exactly. I know it's confusing and such, but Mobians are treated as secondary citizens. Yeah, if you probably don't know, Mobians are the equivalency of their own type of people in a way, just that they're animals. Very advanced animals, if you ask me. Now, there are different types of towns, and you got different types of themes. Exactly where are they practically going? What exactly do they do? Well, it's all dependent on the sort of themes. But throughout the journey, there's a bit more meaning behind it. There is actually there's an organization group that, while in the eyes of the public, they are actually people who are trying to help these specific environments and such with removal of certain Pokemon and place them somewhere they could actually be safe or actually not be trouble. Yeah, I guess you could put it that way. Oh boy. This specific group is called the Protectors Against Hostile Pokemon, or PAHP. That's literally what they're referred to as. I know. It's kind of a weird ideal. But that's what I came up with, because when you think about it, certain types of teams, they go by certain themes. I just simply said, Joshua, Protectors Against Hostile Pokemon. PAHP. And since they're definitely the evil team, and their ideals are warped. In a way, it's the specifically strong Pokemon, such as the strongest steel types, the strongest of dragon types, the strongest of water types, you name it. And they'll even go after beginner types, such as lowly dragon types, such as like either a Bagon, a Dratini, even a Larvitar, and they will, and not so smoothly, remove them. They even carry weapons that basically will detain them. And not so nice either. They're brutal about this. And that's damaging on the Pokemon, to the point where trainers, if they see an injured Pokemon and it's not from battling, they immediately take that to the center. And you're probably wondering, why hasn't the authorities done anything about it? Well, because they have no idea. They just pretty much see this group actually doing good rather than seeing the twisted and shady things behind it. Now, as for the elite members, now this is basically important. The elite actually has practically good, they're pretty much good at what they're doing. They want to make sure that the place is balanced and make sure it's kept that way so that none of the chaos happens. But since that team basically has been around and such, and they've been really tricky about certain things. Whew. Yeah, exactly. That's what I tend to do with certain stories too. I am more interested about world building and such, but also character choices too. Yeah, no, I'm not diving into that topic. I'm not diving into that topic at all. But yeah, the elite members, there is no Elite Four, there's elite members. Why do I say that? Is because if they are very skilled, they can become a member of the elite. They just need to show that they have the skills, the strengths, the wisdom, and whatever it takes. And this is the true definition of protectors of the region. That's the reason why that elite was created. Not just for testing trainers, but to protect the environment and the citizens as a whole. And two members are in fact Sonic characters, that being Sonic himself and Shadow the Hedgehog. Sonic is basically the newest member, and he's practically still the rookie of the group. He can hold his own still, it's just that he has a long way to go. And then you have Shadow, who's been in the elite for a number of years. And his specialty is focused on power, while Sonic is more about speed. The other two members are way more tougher and a lot more difficult. Think Cynthia, except up to 10. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And I don't even like Cynthia, pretty much. Yeah, I'm not kidding, people. I'd say Sinnoh is not my go-to region. They're Knights and Riella, and they are the traveling trainers as well. In fact, they were the very few members who have been around a lot longer, and they know the region from front to back and make sure the environment is going pretty smoothly. Wiseman isn't around, so yeah. Yeah, exactly, Cole. Exactly. I've had a horrible time. I've had bitter memories with that, especially that elite. Yes, thank you. That's exactly why that's the reason why I despise that line anyways. If you notice, I never drawn a Garchomp and such. That's one of the reasons. As for the champion, well, let's just say basically the champion from Generation 4. The champion I decided on would be as the mysterious Nightmare himself, who's been around for a lot longer than anyone would have imagined. Mysterious, and not sure what goes on through that one's head, but has good intentions. It's okay. I'm trying my best to explain this, guys. I really hope that you don't mind this. But yeah, as for things with the Pokemon, it isn't just going into the wild. It isn't just going into the grass and just hoping you get an encounter or such. It's more like going to be like the wild areas in Sword and Shield. And let's just say the Pokemon, some are docile, some are way more aggressive, and that's practically what you can. And that's kind of the idea I went with. Some of them were actually bred to be that. And well, there is kind of a Roman breeder. And well, let's just say that job was actually carried over by Riella, who is actually a Pokemon breeder. He pretty much did it as his own project just to make sure that the perfect kind of Pokemon are not only healthy and can survive and such and take care of themselves, but to also be given to trainers that truly knows what it takes to raise these specific Pokemon. And he's been holding up that career ever since. There. The red and black jester guy. The guy who is a rivals with knights. Riella. Yeah, sorry if I had to spell it that way, but that's literally how he is. As for knights, he's practically an explorer and such. Pretty much also looking out for trainers to see if they have the potential and such. And isn't afraid to actually interact with them. In fact, people constantly mistaken them that they aren't like elite members because they just show just how interactive they are. But Riella wasn't really a bad guy per se. He was more of an antagonist where he's from. The real baddie was Wiseman. But I honestly don't want to get into that bag. Trust me, I don't want to at the moment. Okay. Let's just say he just picked it up and such. Plus, let's just say there's more detail in the going about the lore and history of this region. basically back then this was a specific region where, well, humans and Pokemon were basically not on good terms. This happened a long time ago. And there were even more lore and history behind it too. Like there's a specific mountain that took place many, like say 1,000 years ago. And it was basically caused by a massive energized Pokemon. A Pokemon that is somehow made out of crystallized energy. Basically, it's that legendary dragon Pokemon in Sword and Shield. The Eternatus. Except this one was way much larger, way more dangerous, and it was way too powerful to even try to conceive or train. So the only way to do so was to, well, be rid of it. Now, here's the thing. Remember how I mentioned this region was considered to be tough and such? Well, you know how you have those Nuzlocks that people do and such? It's kind of like that, except I like to think that a Nuzlocke, meaning that the Pokemon does faint, only it doesn't truly faint. It has to be hit by a super powerful attack. And if the Pokemon is that weak and such, then that would indicate that it'd be dead. And there's no way a revive would work. So in a way, Pokemon do in fact get killed. But it's not just that, but also people. So in a way, this is a region where it's survival and such. But in a way to help try to bring the balance that of respect and a trusted bond and such. A connection, you could say. Now, Knights of Reala, they have legendaries as their mains. Knights has Cresselia, which is the moon Pokemon, and Reala has Darkrai, the bringer of nightmares. Now, let's just say Pokeballs did not fully were a thing yet, but these were basically the first trainers to actually have advanced balls. You know, a way of having connections and such. Reala being the first, he basically went into the waking world and such and was exploring, seeing how much damage was basically being done to the land and such. That's when a rather messenger of Arceus, that being Darkrai, who is basically a messenger, basically was sentenced to have the judgment because there are certain humans that cause cruelty to Pokemon. So, in sense, Reala basically dealt with it himself. He didn't have any Pokemon for his own crew. It was just himself, and his skills. And it was indeed an intense fight. But eventually he did come out on top, and he actually made a deal with the Darkrai. The Darkrai would agree to join him only if an agreement helped search out the vile humans, which Reala will basically help with being a cautious one. Because Reala's not dumb. Not even kidding. He's actually pretty smart when you actually pay attention to how he acts. As for Knights, it was more about the healing process and the healing of nightmares. Even though Knights himself was a nightmare creature, he was there to help, and the Cresselia saw the kindness and encouragement. That's when the Cresselia agreed to join. And keep in mind, this was basically during a time, and I came up with the idea that this legendary will actually be considered a part fairy type. And that just made people wonder, oh, well, some Pokemon were actually given the fairy treatment, And Cresselia is literally was basically the moon Pokemon. Well, why doesn't it have like the typing and such in later gens? Well, this is basically the rare occasions where a Cresselia was actually one of those rare types. Eh. So yeah. Yeah, if you want to know, by the time Balan Wonderworld basically has appeared and such, I didn't think much of it. It was like, you know what? I'm gonna add those guys in. But let's just say they do play a kind of minor role, but it is rather important. Balan and Lance, I'll briefly bring up what they are. They are technically the theater masters. If you don't probably know, this is meant to be like a sort of training sessions, but it's also like a battle arena. Basically, it keeps you on your toes. Things are mixed up. And Balan encourages it, exploration and such. And Lance is basically authorized to pretty much keep an eye out, and if things get rough, well, he sends in to make your time as difficult as possible. But it's not a bad thing. It's more about if you can be on your toes, that is. And they are the masters who can fight. After all, it is a theater, and they're just there to have a great time and actually entertain, which they do. Yeah. I pretty much do consider them being in the same AU, the same universe. Well, technically, Knights is in the dream dimension, and Sonic is in his. It's just that they sort of got conjured up in this strange new world. Just saying. There's a bit more to these that it's its own sort of thing. These aren't like the same, but it's their personalities that still remain and such. And don't worry, I am not screwing up like they did at IDW or Bits with Archie. And I really don't want that to happen, honestly. I am trying to be careful with what I do and what I choose, and then some. Okay. As for, I guess I can go over the gym leaders. So far, I did do some drawings of these guys, but it's only been a few of them, and I haven't worked on the others yet. So, that's pretty much what you guys need to keep in mind. Oh, beer be a bit, guys. Oh, glad to know you have a keen eye. I'll be right back a bit. I'm gonna go take care of a little something, but this is a little break, guys. So feel free to do some comments and such. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Well, now, what do we have here, huh? Also, happy St. Patty's Day, everyone. Honestly, I don't know about that, but I bet that would be one heck of a hassle. Hey. Anywho's, I'm going to pretty much be showing the, well, I guess you can say, what I got thus far. Now, this is basically the early gym leaders. So, the first one off is Tails. Tails is basically the mechanic of a town he works in, and not only is he a gym leader, but he's also a source of entertainment when he's showing off his inventions. Now, as you can see, these are the Pokemon he has. The Magnemite is pretty much more of his helper Pokemon, his assistant. Basically, Magnemite helps gather the tools that are necessary and such. Plus, with the electricity that it gives off, basically helps Tails when it comes to power and such. And basically to help him test with these inventions. As for his team, well, you can say, did I mention that these Pokemon are a bit more higher level? I'd say possibly for early gym, possibly about in the 20s. Yep, we ain't fooling around here, folks. In the early 20s. This ain't babying. This is more about the skills and such. And what these reflect about with Tails here. He has a Fletchinder, a Buizel, and his main ace, a Ninetales with the ability Draught. And a fun fact, how Tails was able to have a Ninetales, it's pretty much thanks to Sonic and his travels and such. He gave him a Firestone, and by the time and some TMs that Tails would pretty much need. So yeah, his ace in the hole is a very powerful Ninetales, and it's the regular. And this is the Cyclone badge. As you see, it looks like a cyclone, but honestly, I think it also looks like a fidget spinner. And Tails here, he's possibly up to about 12 to 13 years old. Yeah, I figured as though he'd be a little aged up when I mentioned. I sort of got the idea a bit with the Boom Ideal. I seriously did like those little goggles and such. But yeah, I just gave him a little pilot's outfit because he's a pilot and such. And also, he basically has help from Rotor, who's basically the more advanced inventor. Yes, I'm not even kidding. I'm actually including the Freedom Fighters and Tails. Well, he definitely gets help. He's not the only genius around, and there are points where Tails could get stressed, and so why not let him have some help? And thankfully, Rotor has the experience when it comes to being that. Oh? Mm-hmm. On to the next member, Amy. Yeah, Amy Rose. She's more specialty about when it comes to things may look cute, but they can be strong. And, well, I figure as though this type of group of Pokemon would definitely suit Amy fine enough. And reason with the Delcatty, well, let's just say, if you don't know, and I've pretty much noticed, Amy has a keen for fashion. And fashion that she basically seems keen on. And they all specialties with the Moonstone. Basically, late 20s to early 30s, I'd say, when it comes to level up. Her Wigglytuff is the strongest. And I ain't joking, this Pokemon could definitely hit. And Amy, I try to keep her as her character as how I basically remember her. And she is a bit aged up too. And hopefully this design actually proves that. She still carries that specific color scheme, but I feel as though this would also work too. And boy oh boy, I'm actually happy this came out just fine. Yes, thank you. I don't recall that. Okay. As for Amy, well, she basically looks after a town that she's basically in called Flora Town. As you probably guess, it's basically a region with flowers and such, and one of her best friends, Cream, actually tends to that place too. And it's a place where people in Pokemon they basically have they basically can relax and such. Everything's rather pretty. It's pretty much nice for bonding and such. And also, Amy gives relationship advice. And no, it's not out of craziness. Trust me, I don't see her as that. She's more mature and she's proud and she's well aware of what she's talking about. And she will pretty much defend the town because she doesn't want any trouble stirring up. And you bet, if her Pokemon aren't enough, then she herself will basically get in on that fight. No. Cream was practically 6 years old within the Sonic series. So yeah, a few years and they're practically older. Hope you found that interesting. Oh boy. We have good old Knock Knock Snuckles. Okay. Knuckles. Let's just say Angel Island was warped to the Skeller region. And pretty much the island has practically become like a tour place. But only if it's away from the shrine. Because that place only is acceptable to those who are willing to challenge Knuckles, who basically also hangs out in a town that has working of gems and other treasures and such, a mining area. And since Knuckles is a treasure hunter, I figured as though that'd be something he could do while he's taking a break from the Master Emerald. And he's got strong Pokemon to keep an eye on that. So it's not like he's got nothing to worry about. He has a Riolu that's basically in training, a rather powerful but also pretty chilled out Primeape, a shiny Sandslash, because why not? It basically just looks like him, and a Camerupt. And people who don't know what Knuckles is wearing, I kind of based it off the JoJo approach. And also, he has the cowboy hat, because Knuckles basically had a cowboy hat for some reason. I don't know, it works. Yeah, you could say this is more about temperamental and such. But also, since Knuckles is able to sense where the emerald pieces are, that's the reason why he has a Riolu. Yeah, these Pokemon have meanings and such. And I thought this was actually fun. Knuckles, he's not just a hothead, but he can be pretty chill and he's actually pretty wise with certain things. Just don't attempt anything or do anything funny and such where he may suspect you or get the wrong idea, and you're good. Seriously, Knuckles is a pretty cool guy. Just don't make him mad. That's probably the only reason why you probably would be cautious in the first place. And this was what I got to have lately is Silver and Blaze. They basically stay within a town that basically has time themed and seasonal themed. Basically, the Neon City. Blaze is obviously more summer, catered towards that, while Silver escalates in winter. Reasons for their team here. Honestly, both are going to have an evolution that I thought that would suit them. Blaze has a Torracat, indicate that it's a fiery cat Pokemon, and you don't really see that many. I was considered Pyroar as well, but I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool to actually see her having an Incineroar. Silver would I figured Silver would actually have a Dragon type Pokemon, and what better yet than Drampa? And fun fact, I came up with the idea that the Drampa would actually be something that Silver actually had for a while. And Xatu, well, obvious reasons. It could see into the future and such, and events that play out. Of course, Blaze would have royalty, so she would have a Nidoqueen. As you can see, I figured as though that a different type of shiny, make it the reversal of Nidoqueen's color scheme. Why? Because I feel as though that would have actually made more sense. Yeah, Knuckles isn't stupid. Mm-hmm. Because why not? They're basically wearing them now in the newest Olympics. Now, there are other team members that basically go through things and such. But yeah, Silver and Blaze, depending on the time, is when it will be capable of battling. It could be either Blaze or Silver at a certain point. Blaze be more likely working during the daytime, while Silver basically works out through the night. However, if it's a certain point, say like at 12, both are actually available, and that's when it'll be like a double battle. Yeah, I thought the idea of them being like a double battling duo, and it actually would work. I honestly like the idea so much, I was like, that could work. And it basically depends on the mechanics and such. As for gym wise, oh boy. Well, there isn't too much when it comes to the gym mechanics. I didn't really think too much on them yet, but I did work on the next one at least. I just didn't draw the group yet, or the others yet. But you gotta trust me on this. I did do pretty much that thinking. Alright. As for the next gym, that is Team Chaotix. Now, Team Chaotix, the Poke Badges, it's basically like how other gyms are. That once you get them, you basically can control these certain Pokemon. Okay, night, Cole. As for pretty much, let's say, yeah, Team Chaotix, they are in fact the next gym and such, and they've got a lot of errands and such. They're pretty busy, and there's the running theme where they're basically like, they need to pay rent, they're poor, etc. But here, they've been doing rather fine. They've been doing pretty good. They're happy to help others. Vector is basically not as greedy, because for some reason that's kind of a running gag with him. So yeah, he's more fine with caring about the others' well-being as well as the citizens and such, and he's willing to, and he does take it much more serious than you may think. Along with Espio and Charmy, who is a bit older now. And their team basically is definitely a dynamic. Now the idea with their gym, well, let's just say it's gimmick. It's gimmickry. Whichever you basically choose, like, you need to pick which of the three you're going to fight. You can't fight all three of them. And that will depend on how it's going to go down. SPO is more of the ninja theme. Charmy is definitely, let's just say, he's a little tricky to get the hang of, and Vector is just straight out all power. Like, seriously. And the Pokemon that tied with them basically fits on the theme. That's mainly what I was going for. As for the sixth gym, I did not really come up with anything yet, because I just didn't know who would actually fit that category yet. I'm pretty sure I'll figure out who yet. I mean, I was pretty much thinking it could be Dulce the Dragon from the Sad AM or Sonic's Uncle Chuck. Just saying. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what I was thinking. But instead of the gym leader gets to choose who it's basically going to be, you have to pretty much decide of who you want to fight. Either way, it's still going to be a battle. How are you guys liking this thus far? I really want to know exactly how you guys are liking this thus far. And is this okay? Because I'm trying my best to explain this as best I could. Oh, anywho's. I guess I could pretty much just go on to at least. Thanks, I'm really trying, because remember, this is basically my first time I'm explaining the project I have going for of the idea. I haven't even started it fully yet. I was thinking that the seventh gym leader, and this is going to be ironic here, and it's going to be actual funny. And oh, hey Ty, took you a bit to actually respond. Ah, thanks. I pretty much try. I try. The seventh one would actually be, and ironically enough, Big the Cat. No, not really. I wouldn't really think of trying that, honestly. But yeah, the seventh gym leader would actually be Big the Cat, and it's more about getting to him while also doing some fishing. That's mainly how you're gonna get there. The better the score, the more you're gonna get there. This is the ironic type of gym. Yes, Big the Cat. Now, Big, yeah, he may be a laid back kind of guy, and yes, he is willing to pretty much fight and such, but his team is definitely they don't go down so easily. I mean, one of them actually, it's he would have like a Politoed with the Drizzle ability, And another is a frickin' Snorlax that's pretty much higher level. It's a very, very tanky and can definitely pack a punch. I mean, that's literally what he is. And ironically enough, I feel as though if he was going to have any other water type that would basically work, and it would actually fit in ways, I feel as though he could actually travel across on some sort of travel Pokemon, say like a Blastoise or a Lapras. Heck, maybe give him a Swampert. Oh, okay. That makes sense. But yeah, how's that for a concept with Big the Cat? You never expected him to be the 7th gym leader while also being considered to be just the normal guy who's just having a normal fishing as his hobby and such. As for the final gym leader, this is actually going to be a shocker because it's not a Sonic character. It's actually ugh. And Swampert basically makes its nest on beaches. I'm not even kidding. Okay. The 8th gym leader would be Jackal. Yeah, Jackal the Mantle from Knights. Now, Jackal isn't. This is actually a bit more of a surprise, but the way I wrote him is actually a bit more different and kind of crazy. Like the crazy concept. Now, before making the way to the city and such, you're actually stopped by someone in a cloaked figure, who's someone who's very much clothed and such. You can't see who they are because of that cloak. I mean, it would definitely need to. I mean, I could probably work. I mean, I could probably make it work. That's mainly how you spell Jackal's name. Basically, the cloak figure gives you a card. No, Rystar isn't a Sonic character. He was part of the Genesis collection and such. If you guys want to know, the stretchy arms that the Werehog has, that is basically an homage to Rystar because he had stretchy arms. So there's your little fact for the day. Anywho's, where Jackal basically is, it's a carnival themed circus town. But this is a town where Nightmares thrive. They're not attacking anyone, they're not bothering anyone. They are just there as performers. And they take pride in that. Their idea is to scare people and such, but not in a way you may think. Think like Halloween Town from the Nightmare Before Christmas. It's basically that. And, well, let's just say Jackal, he's within a. The only way to get there is by a maze. It's kind of it's like a slight corn maze, but you're getting stalked by, say, certain types of bat Pokemon, ghost types, and some eerie dark types. Heck, even some fairy types are not so innocent. Basically, there's a lot of eyes and a lot of watching and such. Oh, FYI, this is basically the point where you can actually visit the Wonder World Theater. So that's basically what I mean by that. So yeah, the only way to get to where Jackal is by the cards that basically you find. And if they match the area of where the sign is, then you basically can move on. However, if it doesn't, then you are sent straight back to the beginning. And there's no layout either, it's randomized. So yeah, that is the tricky part. Jackal waits for your time. He waits and waits. So by the time you get there, it's a fortune teller place. But it's disguised as one because on the inside, it's basically a massive gym. There are different ghost types in there. Okay, got it out. You are escorted by one of his Pokemon, a Dusknoir. And Jackal welcomes you. He's surprised that he's actually going to get a challenger that he hasn't had in a while. There's a reason with Jackal and why he's considered to be the last of the gym leaders and why he's considered to be the hardest. Hey Ree! Welcome to the stream. Now, Ree, I know you're basically confused about this, but by the time this video comes up, I'm pretty sure you may get what I'm trying to explain with this. This is basically about a project I basically have in mind. Well, just one of them at least. But yeah, Jackal is messed up in the head. His Pokemon are incredibly powerful, but him being a ghost type user, that says a lot. But he has a mix too. Ah! Oh, that's good. Ah, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's a great type. That's a great idea. I'm not sure how I'm not sure how to work that out, but I'm pretty sure you could. But yeah. Jackal is messed up in the head. And he is an ex-elite member, meaning that he is no pushover. He will definitely beat you multiple times if you're not careful or not knowing what he may bring out. The thing is, Jackal is one of those elite members that is one of those members that will actually switch out Pokemon. Like, he'll just replace certain parts of his team and actually replace with different other Pokemon. But his main go-to type is a Gengar. Not just any Gengar, a Gengar with Levitate. You know, obviously Game Freak and such, they actually changed things up with Gengar and such. They give it Cursed Body rather than keep it Levitate. Well, this is one of the times where Jackal actually has a Levitating Gengar. And it ain't easy. He also pretty much carries a Megastone with Dynamaxing. Now, and let's just say he leaves your Pokemon for dead. I mean, I'm the one who suggested that you make Jackal into a Gengar since Riella basically is the Incineroar. So yeah, there you go. There's your little context there. But if you somehow manage to beat Jackal, he rewards you, and he actually gives you a heads up about your fortune and such. He's actually one of few you can actually get advice from when it comes to fortune telling. There are others that basically have, you can actually do side quests and such from certain gym leaders if you want to and such. Depends on a certain amount of time. And well, you think you're going to go to the elite? Wrong. There's more to it. About making your way through, that's when, well, the protectors against hostile Pokemon members actually got heard from who basically shows up, and he turns your Pokemon into their first stage, and you have no way to get to the elite. Yeah, it's a major crisis. Eggman enters the frill and such, and there's no way you can actually get back to your position. Your team is basically weakened. They still have their moves, but now you gotta do the training all over again. Yep. I mean, come on, there has to be a way. The doctor basically, he's not forced in. Rather, he's been analyzing certain trainers, and when the time comes, he'll just come in and basically, oh, I don't think you're going to be needing that power. Let's see. Have fun training all over again. And no, he doesn't have the very funny hench butts. He's actually got pretty strong steel types. Heck. Thanks, Worlds. I'm trying. The only way to pretty much get your Pokemon back to their stages and such, as well as pretty much put a stop to this, is by going through Eggman's Legion, aka gonna fight the egg bosses. I felt there was necessary, and you're thrown into a battle sequence. Well, it's a common battlegrounds, and the freedom fighters you actually end up meeting. You do meet a few of them, and they basically assist, or they basically could use an extra hand. And well, let's just say it's pretty much obvious where it's going. But meeting these, well, members of Eggman's group, his army and such, let's just say it's not going to be easy. Because your Pokemon are very much back to their early stages, that's a problem. But with some training and such, you can go way through, but you get to choose as to which boss you go after first, and then some. But they will give a suggestion as to where you will go later. As for robots, yeah, there will be. You think I wouldn't include that? At some random points, Eggman will indeed send out a roboticide Pokemon after you. And they are not gonna, they go from being easy to being a lot more difficult. Yeah. It mostly depends on how much damage they'll take. Now with these specific egg bosses, they're not being flat out evil. Rather, they have their own reasons. Sometimes it takes a bit more to battle. Sometimes they'll go easy. Depends on the specific person. But there's a bit more meaning with them. And also the conflict with the freedom fighters, too. And you can pretty much take a wild guess with that. All the meanwhile, the elite members, they've been able to be shown up a few times within certain towns, certain locations, etc., etc. They've been analyzing a lot. There's definite points and definite reasons. And let's just say there's a lot of things in this idea I just practically came up with and try to come up with some way to make this work. Crossovers and such. In fact, there are some like super bosses, and well, this is the equivalency of Mount Battle from Coliseum and XD. Let's just say these are like minors and such. These are like super challenges. I mean, come on, it's an RPG, and and it's definitely going to be something like that. But for the most part, it's mainly bonding with your Pokemon, experiences, and going through a lot of these scenarios and such. And I was thinking the idea for the story and such, well, this is just the concepts. These are just concepts, guys. But I think these work. It's also with a good way to bond with Pokemon and such. And yes, there are certain jokes involving the certain themes, but you can take a wild guess with that. I mentioned the friggin' daycare from the beginning. Yeah, I mentioned the daycare from the beginning. That's where you get your starter and such. And ironically enough, the professor who is basically in charge and such is Rotor. Yeah, Rotor. He's basically the Pokemon professor. But I think it works for him. And Nicole is his helper. But Nicole also assists Sally whenever she's needed. Rotor is accompanied by his good old trusty, well, Seal Pokemon. And no, I'm not talking about Seal. He has a Walrus Pokemon. And considering what he basically does and such, I want to give the guy a benefit and such. Heck, I'm pretty much thinking that maybe, if be possible, you may actually challenge the freedom fighters to certain battles. I'm not too heavy with the crossover ideas. There's only a few, and I promise you, I try to make sure that most don't overstay their welcome. They're basically shown when needed, or if I wish to bring them in again, they can. But as of right now, this is pretty much what I got thus far. And this elite is meant to be the most challenging, most difficult, and it's literally put your skills and strength and such to the limit. Sometimes you may get a member to actually travel with you for a short period, for some time, or you may actually assist them when they're in a tight situation. Basically, take example, Sonic. There are points where even he basically would need some help. Yes, he's capable of taking care of things, but sometimes he can actually screw up. He may actually have some trouble. But it's only like a coincidence, or it's a dire. Or with Shadow. He may be the ultimate life form, but even he can pretty much screw up. Knights of Reala also can have that situation too. Yeah, even nightmares have limits. It just has to be a coincidence or a convenience. In fact, everyone's got their own coincidence and such. I just want this to be a fleshed out region, a fleshed out world, and everyone can actually have an interesting time and an interesting experience. As for certain teams and such, I definitely need to make it work. As for PAHP, well, let's just say it would involve Pokemon that may look innocent, when in actuality they are very devious. I guess certain fairy and dark types, but also certain Pokemon you wouldn't think hurt, such as like is actually really dangerous, like a Beware. I'm not even kidding about that. But other than that, that's all I got thus far. So, as of late, this is what I basically came up with and such. You can do customs and such, and oh, why thank you. I really hope you guys found this interesting. For once, I'm basically finding this interesting. And I will pretty much do more of these later onward. Heck, maybe tomorrow I might actually talk about another project I have also on the brain. If you guys are interested, that is. Would you guys like to hear that for the next stream? Because I sure would. Let me know in the comments you guys want to know. This was mainly about my idea for a Pokemon crossover of a few other franchises that I think are rather unique or can actually work. Alright. Now, I've got other project ideas. Let's see. I have a few ideas. One of them is basically a FNAF idea project that I got going for. Well, it's a style at least. It's an idea I have. The other is basically a combination of Nights in Silent Hill. And another one is Persona, that is also a crossover. And, well, my own ideas of a dream dimension, and another that's basically it's basically a very open world kind of event. It's basically episodic adventures. I want to pretty much know what you guys think. Just let me know about that. Because Silent Hill is actually one of those few franchises that I find interesting, and I think Nights fits that perfectly too. Just want to know, which of the I will pretty much just bring this. Heck, I even came up with an idea for a Sega theme park idea. I'm not even kidding. I just came up with that idea along with a Night-esque style Mario Party, which I talked over on Ty's stream. I'm not even kidding. I have so many of these ideas that I want to share, but I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. Let me pretty much know what you think of those ideas. Did they sound interesting? Did they sound interesting to you? Oh, Yeah, but this is a different type of theme park. So, you guys want me to talk about the theme park idea? I guess it's still on a video game related. So I guess that could work and such. And Worlds, hold on. I want to know exactly which one you want me to go with first. Already Noah suggested that I talk about the theme park idea. So I want to know exactly which do you want to know? I will put these in the comments to let you guys basically choose for yourself, and give me your votes so I can pretty much know what to do for next stream. Okay? All right. These are the ideas. Do pick your point. I'm basically going to let you guys basically choose a decision, and the comments will basically be the decision for that. Take your time. No need to be rushed. All right, we have a point for the Sega theme park. The adventure idea. Well, seems like we got ourselves a winner. All right. Next stream, I will talk about the Sega theme park. Oh, and as a little bonus, if I actually get another person and such, I will go over a certain type of creepypasta story that I did a few years back in 2014, that being Riela's Heart. So yeah, I will basically be discussing about a rather horror story that I made. If you guys are interested about that in the future, I would like to know. This would definitely me go into depth and such about this sort of story and such. Would you guys like to hear about that at some point? Because I want to know. Ah, okay. Well, I think this definitely should call off for the stream. I hope you guys found this interesting. I know I sure did. And hopefully I'll do more of these later onward. So, yeah, hope you guys had a good time. And I will see you all later for next stream. So, looking forward to that. See you all later. Have a nice night, everyone. And most importantly, have pleasant nightmares, everyone.